Hey guys, what is going on? So I finally got a chance to see Doctor Strange, and I know it's late, please forgive me. So I figured, what the heck, I'll just make this a spoiler review. Anyway, Doctor Strange is the 14th movie of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and was directed by Scott Derrickson and has a terrific cast with Benedict Cumberbatch as the lead. Fun fact, when they were still casting Doctor Strange, when they were still looking at Joaquin Phoenix, Benedict Cumberbatch was actually my number one choice. I think he's a great actor, and then I saw fan art of him as Doctor Strange, and ever since then, he was my number one pick. And I'm glad he got it because I can't picture anyone else being Doctor Strange. As well as Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One, who was fantastic by the way, Mads Mikkelsen as the villain Kilcius, and we have Chiwetel Ejiofor as Baron Mordo, and Rachel McAdams as the love interest Christine Palmer, and Benedict Wong as Wong. So if you don't know anything about Doctor Strange, Dr. Stephen Strange is essentially a very brilliant but arrogant neurosurgeon who gets in a car accident and winds up breaking his hands. His hands and him doing surgeries was his ego, and without that, his life had no meaning. So he undergoes physical therapy and multiple surgeries, just trying to fix his hands. And eventually he finds out that someone who's paralyzed had healed himself, which is impossible to do. So he tracks down this guy who tells him that there's people that can help him in Nepal, so he travels there, and that's where he meets the Ancient One, who tells him that he could heal his hands through magic. He then goes to study the mystic arts. Now, I really like this movie, I really did, I really enjoyed it. But that being said, I was slightly disappointed, and that's only because my expectations were so incredibly high. My sister was raving about this movie, I heard so many great things about it, so naturally, my blood just started running through my veins and just got really excited for it. I love Doctor Strange in the comic books. I'm not a hardcore Doctor Strange fan, I don't know everything about him, but I know quite a bit, a lot more than I knew Guardians of the Galaxy, not quite as much as I knew for Ant-Man. I still like Ant-Man as a character a little bit more, but this is around that same area. Look, really fast, even if I came across a not so good Marvel movie, it still has a place in my heart. For example, Iron Man 2. That is the worst of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe in my opinion, but it's still a part of a universe that I love with characters that I love, so it just naturally has a place in my heart. And even if you take out the cinematic universe aspect to all the movies, there's still technically no bad Marvel movies. Iron Man 2, which is the worst, yeah, if you take out the cinematic universe out of it, it definitely lowers, but it's still not an unwatchable movie, and that goes for all of them. So that being said, Doctor Strange isn't even close to the worst one. It's not even close to Iron Man 2. It's definitely a really enjoyable movie, but I still was kind of disappointed. To start off, what really sold this movie was two things: the cast and the visual effects. Benedict Cumberbatch became Doctor Strange. As I mentioned before, he was the perfect choice, and Tilda Swinton actually blew me away. There was a lot of talk of that character being whitewashed because that character is originally a Chinese male, so now it's a white female. It doesn't matter because her performance completely stole the movie. I think she was one of the best aspects of the entire movie. Rachel McAdams was really great. I wish I saw more of her, but the time she had was still really good. And I also love Chiwetel Ejiofor. He was great in The Martian, he's great in this, and I could just sense he's going to be one of the best Marvel villains going forward. But this movie is visually spectacular. It was breathtaking. This is one of the best visual movies I have ever seen, period. It was that good. The visuals really did blow me away. Nothing looked like CGI, and just the creativity, the thought process that went through this is just mind-boggling. When you're watching the visuals, you could easily tell that this took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and it completely paid off. For example, Stephen Strange's first mind trip when he first meets the Ancient One is one of the best parts of the movie, where like you're going into his mouth multiple times and like his hands form hands, just a lot of weird, crazy stuff that was executed really well. And even the scenes that weren't all trippy, it still was a beautiful movie. For example, the car accident in the beginning of the movie. That was shot, executed, and stylized beautifully. All the sets were beautifully done, like the Sanctum Sanctorum, or even the stuff in the hospital. I was equally excited to see scenes in the hospital as I was the Sanctum Sanctorum or other dimensions. That being said, it's not a perfect movie. Like I said, I walked out feeling a little disappointed because there were things that could have been a little bit better. One being the villain, played by Mads Mikkelsen, Kilcius. He just kind of seemed one-dimensional, forgettable, and he just kind of seemed like a plot device more than anything, than an actual character. As well as the passage of time. When he first meets the Ancient One and starts training to the end of the movie, we don't really know how long that's been. They do say it takes years of training, but again, they're not clear on it. It could be 2 days, it could have been a few weeks, Could have been a few months, a year, 2 years, you don't really know. And also the ending was a little anticlimactic. But that being said, all the negatives I almost have a counter argument to those negatives in my head. For example, the villain thing. All of the Marvel villains are like that because they found a formula. They don't really put much effort into the villains because there's no point. It's a one and done thing. Their job is to set up the character that we're going to be seeing throughout the movies. For example, Ant-Man. They knew we were going to see Ant-Man in Civil War and he was going to be a reoccurring character, whereas Yellow Jacket, he was just for that one movie. So they basically used the villains as a plot device to make the hero look cool, have some action scenes, and to basically form the character as the hero we know in the comics. So I'm pretty much cool with that. I would rather have a better Star-Lord than a Ronan the Accuser. But while that might be, at least Ronan the Accuser looked cool. Yellow Jacket looked cool. Red Skull looked cool. At least those villains were visually awesome to look at. Whereas Kilcius, I don't know, I don't love his character design. I don't hate it, it's not the worst thing, but his design could have been a lot better. And as for the whole passage of time, what my sister said coming out of the movie, which I kind of agree with, which is, does the passage of time really matter? What does it matter if he's there for a year or a few weeks or a day? What does that really change about the story? Because in the movie they say he's a very fast learner and he picks up on the magic really fast. So if you do think he's there for a couple years, that's still technically faster than most other sorcerers in the movie, so that line is still valid. But if you did think he was there for maybe a couple days, well then that line solves that problem right there. He's a very fast learner, and maybe, like what my sister said, maybe that makes him worthy of the Marvel title. Maybe that's what makes him so special, being worthy of a Marvel superhero, is the fact that he did learn so fast, and he caught on really well, and that's what helps him become the Sorcerer Supreme. So as far as I'm concerned, even though there are flaws, judging on a cinematic standpoint, this is exactly what Marvel wanted. They weren't going for a super intriguing villain or anything like that. Their main job was to set up the character of Doctor Strange, which is why I would say this is more of a character piece than anything else. Again, this movie's job is to set up Doctor Strange for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think it did that with flying colors. So essentially what I'm saying is, this movie knows what it wants to be. And as for the ending, it was a little anticlimactic, but I gotta respect the cleverness of the ending, of him trapping Dormammu into a time loop. I just thought that was really smart, and I just have to respect it for it being so clever. It was definitely a unique ending. It kind of reminded me of Star-Lord's dance-off at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, but not nearly as good. But I don't like how Dormammu looked. He kind of looked like a CGI blob. It wasn't like Green Lantern with the Storm Cloud or Galactus in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. It wasn't to that level, but it just could have looked a lot better. And I love how they set up Baron Mordo as a future villain. You see him progress, and by the end credit scene, he goes full villainy. Unlike in Green Lantern, where Sinestro is Hal Jordan's friend throughout the entire movie, and then we get a random post-credit scene where he becomes all evil and it's out of nowhere. For Doctor Strange, you see Baron Mordo slowly turn. And having him start off as a friend is just going to make it a lot more personal. It actually kind of reminded me of Magneto and Professor X. Which is why I say Baron Mordo is probably going to be the next Loki. Since he is going to be reoccurring, we're going to get more of him. It's going to be a lot more personal. That's why the villains that are reoccurring are the best. Loki, Kingpin, Killgrave, villains that we get a lot of are usually better. Whereas the villains where they're just plot devices like Yellow Jacket or Ironmonger or Whiplash, they just kind of show up and make the hero look cool. So I can't wait to see Doctor Strange again. I can't wait to see Baron Mordo again. I can't wait to see Doctor Strange in Thor Ragnarok and in Avengers Infinity War. So I'm definitely looking forward to the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But even though all of the positives I have to say, like I said, for some reason, I never got that blood rush or that giddiness I was looking for. I just ended up walking away a little disappointed for some reason. So I'm going to give Doctor Strange a 7 out of 10. And like I said, this is exactly what Marvel wanted it to be. So I could totally see it why it would be, you know, an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 or even a 10 out of 10. But just my level of enjoyment was around a 7 out of 10. So that's just what I'm going to stick with. So what did you think of Doctor Strange? And are you looking forward to seeing him in the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Make sure to like the video. And as always, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.